Oh, look at that. Fatal error.
It's always Glenn. Even when there's just two of us, it's always Glenn.
Unbelievable. What the hell's that about? Dude, I can't believe that happened. Hello, hello, hello. Hey there. Hello. Coming to you from San Diego. Dude, another error.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 40 of 2023. I'm Chris Louie, and the smoke is finally starting to clear here in Northern California. With me, I do not have my co-host Havoc the Mouthpiece. He is currently stuck at McCarran Airport playing the slot machines.
What do you think the odds are that he's just really he's broke, he spent all his money last night, or either that or he's passed out somewhere in Las Vegas and he's using that as an excuse?
I bet he's lounging by the pool. He's getting his tan on.
Yeah, I betcha.
Just didn't want to show. We told him to join the podcast from the airport. We thought it'd be hilarious to hear all the background noise, but no, he didn't want to come on.
Yeah, is that odd? Normally he's pretty much game about getting on the pod. So
yeah, he's not all in like us too. We show
and just remember, this time this one is not on me.
That is true. But we do have Glenn Medina, the scientist who just came back from watching a Coldplay concert.
I don't understand the scientist. What's the scientist have to do with anything, Chris? But I did watch Coldplay. That was actually really cool.
That's one of Coldplay's most famous songs, called "The Scientist."
No, it's not. Is it?
That's one of
It's
Coldplay's
yellow.
most famous songs, "The Scientist." I'm surprised they didn't play it. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Really?
No, science.
Okay,
Well,
I gotta go look that up.
it's
Maybe I heard it.
one of the.
Okay, I'm gonna go listen
I'm looking
for
on
it now.
Spotify right now.
And maybe I almost bet you I probably know the song. I just don't know it by title because I'm so bad with titles. But I got to tell you, Chris, it was probably one of the better concerts that I've been to. It wasn't just a bunch of guys that were, dancing on stage and singing. It had what did it have? It had wristbands that that glowed and pulsated and was lighting up the stadium. And if I remember correctly, my daughter told me Taylor Swift had a concert like that as well. So I don't think it was Coldplay that started that. Maybe it was somebody else, but good show, great music, and the stage was phenomenal. They had lights everywhere, laser shows, and they had pyrotechnics, which is I'm a big fan of, right? So, and they were close, so pretty cool.
It's awesome. I'm going to start developing this reputation of the guy that always has to be right, but I am right. I just typed in Coldplay into my Spotify. The top 4 songs on Spotify for Coldplay. Number 1, The Scientist, Vindicated, thank you. Number 2, Paradise. Number 3, A Sky Full of Stars. And number 4, Vida la Vida.
Not even yellow,
Not
really?
even yellow. No, maybe it's number 5. It only shows me the
God.
top 4.
Oh wow. Yeah, the Viva la Vida that's the one they got sued over, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, I didn't know about the lawsuit. Tell me
Yeah, there was a
more.
lawsuit against them. Yeah, so I think uh, they were sued for I don't know how many million. We'll have to provide links for that, but they were sued for a song, and I'm thinking it was Viva la Vida. They took it off of another artist, and that was just the case. Yeah, they lost, of my understanding.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
great music, by the way. Great music last night. It was a good time. What's scary is they were playing at the new Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. And I don't know if any of you listeners are out there familiar with Snapdragon Stadium. It's the old, not old. It's the old location where the San Diego Chargers used to play, and now San Diego State has opened the stadium, rebuilt it for college football and other events. But it's a very specific SDSU stadium now, and just like any other college campuses, it's open. There's only two sides, and on the two sides, it's concrete built, large concrete structure, right? Couple of the songs where they had people jumping up and down, to the songs. I really thought the structure was going to fall apart.
You're gonna fall.
That, yeah, we were going to fall.
Like this,
oh my
this
God.
is it. I hope my will is updated.
I told the wife, I said, I am so glad this stadium has been open for about a year now, and it's fairly new. I said, I don't want to be in the stadium doing the same concert 10 years from now, because I guarantee you that the concrete and the rebar
degrade.
will not be will not be as strong.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you made it, Glenn, so I have somebody to record and I'm not doing a solo episode today.
Yeah, anything from my buddy Chris here. So, and we'll post some pictures too from the event.
Yeah, check him out on. I'll probably post them on LinkedIn.
Cool.
No guests this week or next week. We're recording at odd times, so once we are back to our regularly scheduled recording, we have some great guests lined up. And we actually did not decide on this recording time until about 30 minutes ago, so talk about last-minute scheduling. Combined, we have decades of information security experience and are here not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got our usual 4 awesome stories for you, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
It was kind of weird, right? Getting to that 30 minutes before, because I know we hadn't scheduled till like later this afternoon. So it was like, I'm done. Deej is not going to be able to join. Let's just get this done as soon as possible. So,
yeah. Thanks, Brian, for the last minute reschedule.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. It's always Brian.
This week, we're going to talk about the COM, an old Looney Tunes dilemma. For our third topic, we talk about how Microsoft allowed ChatGPT to break bad, and close with good book talk between 2 intellectuals.
I don't know who those 2 intellectuals are, but there's only 2 of us over here.
For our first topic, we are revisiting our big story from last week, and will be our ransomware story of the week. My hypothesis that Caesars and MGM were taken down by a bunch of kids who spent at most a week inside the network was proven right. This was not a sophisticated APT group crawling around the wires for months and years beforehand. I have been vindicated, and Brian owes me a bottle of Macallan 18.
Pay up, Brian. Pay your bets.
This is the best time to call him out, too, because he's not on here to defend himself. Because if he were on, he would say, I never agreed to that. What are you talking about? Stop casting these aspersions my way.
I know. Check him out.
Well, security researchers, I believe it was Sentinel-1, they uncovered an underground community called the COM, that's Training Gen Z Hackers, and that's COM as in C-O-M. They would be in their late teens and early 20s, taking very talented and technical people and radicalizing them into doing nefarious things like hacking into multi-billion-dollar multinational corporations. Not only are they training grounds for the next generation of hackers, but also things like SIM swapping and violence as a service that we discussed on a previous podcast. That violence as a service is you pay someone and you can have someone throw a brick through somebody's window, or you could pay someone to do a drive-by shooting. Violence as a service, what a world we live in.
How was it? How did we get here? How did we get here, Chris? Violence as a service. Like, how do you not connect that and go, hey, listen, you just can't do that, right? I mean, in the world that we lived in, I remember when kidnapping was a thing, and then it became a federal law that says, you will go to it's a federal crime to do that. But violence as a service, how is that not bad? Like, how do we get to this point in our life?
Well, if there's thugs out there willing to do violence for money, I think the internet probably made it a little bit easier that everything is so interconnected now. Somebody in the UK can post a help wanted ad on some dark market and say, I'll pay you $500 to go shoot up this house. And if someone's sophisticated enough on the receiving end of or the doing end of the violence to go onto this dark marketplace, that they are just able to connect now or do things over Telegram.
That's crazy. We need to just turn off phones. So turn off cell phones for everyone. No more smartphones. Well,
I mean, violence as a service, I guess that it used to be a thing, like the loan shark would pay, Vinny to go down and break someone's legs if he didn't get paid. Technically, that's like violence as a service. I think it's just gone global in scale now.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Before it'd be like the local thugs. You go to
Yeah.
them and they take care of it. Now your reach is pretty far. Ugh,
Yeah, now there's a
love it.
whole
Love it and hate it.
marketplace for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Bad that I didn't think
Globalization.
of it.
We've won, Glenn.
Yeah, yeah. What is this like?
The globalists
It's like
have
the
won.
Uber. It's like the Uber of thugs. Can I hire like? Is it Drizzly or Uber Eats? Like, can I Uber punch? Something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Uber somebody a
Uber
punch in the
shoot.
face.
Uber kill. Oh my.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that the attackers for Caesars and MGM, they're both highly skilled and not at the same time. They have proven themselves very talented at initial access using things like social engineering and MFA bombing, if you remember those lapsus kids from a while ago, but their lack of experience shows with very poor OPSEC as seen by those lapsus kids that got scooped up. They don't know how to cover their tracks. They brag too much online. They just haven't really learned the meta side of the soft skills of being a hacker.
I think that'll just come with time, right? We just heard of a new group that just popped up, and I guarantee you they'll refine their skills and tactics to be a little bit better next time.
I think so. I think it also comes with age that they're too young, they're too talented, and that sort of lends itself to the idea that ransomware gangs are businesses, that they need a manager, they need a father figure, a parental figure, maybe a mother figure. They need some kind of mentor to teach them that you guys are really, really good at doing this, but let me teach you all the stuff you should not be doing at the same time. So maybe there's some kind of mentorship program in the com.
Yeah. Well, is that the com? Is that the folks that are training the Gen Z hackers, or is there like that's the group itself, right? So I imagine they got to make this better. It can't be another set of 16-year-olds just driving this thing.
The com is a community, so all these kids go there and they swap tricks and I guess post things, the latest malware tools, latest malware tactics. They radicalize each other there, but what they need is some kind of mentorship that if they want to do something well, they're not doing good, they want to do something well, then they need that mentorship there. They need to learn how to cover their tracks better. They need to learn, don't be in the US or the UK because you will get picked up. You need to be from an Eastern Bloc country or hide your tracks better.
Yeah. Well, so get this straight. Like, I think the reported, it's in the millions.
The losses?
Right? The losses so far were like 20, 30 million?
A day. I would say on the low side, 100 million. On the high side, 200, 300 million total.
By a somewhat from a somewhat coordinated attack, right? This was coordinated to some extent, but not really. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. There's that meme that says, there's a picture of Drake saying no and saying disgusting, 1 million for cybersecurity, no way. And then the next picture, Drake looking excited, 10 million to pay a ransom, heck yes.
Gosh, yeah. So I had some friends that were in Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling me that they couldn't even take Starbucks gift cards, right, or cards. They had to pay everything cash, or if they did, they had to write everything down. He said it was really bad.
Back to the Stone Age. I'm surprised they didn't have those old credit card, the thing with the carbon copy. You go chuk chuk, that you make a copy of the
last
credit
thing
card
I'm going to do. I would never let you swipe my card that way.
How far we've come,
goodness.
Glenn, from that old machine that goes chuk chuk, and now you just tap your phone on a screen and then you could pay.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. And I just remember it's like when I worked at a department store a long time ago, that's actually how we rung stuff up. It wasn't by the point of sale machines. It was, hey, I'm going to make this transaction. I'm going to slide this card, and then you see that credit card transaction like 20 days later show up.
Yeah. And then you have to ask for the carbon too. You remember that? You ask for the carbon because you throw that in the trash. It's got a copy of an imprint of your card on it.
Well, yeah, for the longest time, and then they got smart, and finally they made those receipts without carbons, right? It was automatically
the carbonless ones.
Yeah.
A trip down memory lane for sure.
Unbelievable. Oh gosh.
Well, in August 2023 Cyber Safety Review Board, CSRB, report on those lapsus kids recommended that the U.S. Congress explore funding juvenile cybercrime prevention programs. And I definitely agree with that. It's more important than ever to set youth on the right path. Sort of like Brian, when his guidance counselor said, Brian is very intelligent and shows great potential, but applies himself improperly. And I think that's what these kids are doing nowadays. If you can intervene early enough, have them do good, and they could have a brilliant career in cybersecurity.
Yeah, got to send them to camp hack.
Or the opposite is true.
What's that?
Or the opposite is true. They serve their jail time, and then the FBI will hire them. I was like, you're really good at sort of like that catch me if you can thing. You know, Frank Abagnale, he's one of the best fraud prevention people now, and he was one of the most notorious fraudsters out there.
That's right. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, 10-minute phone call. Allegedly, that's what it took. A 10-minute phone call to social engineer somebody's account, and now you can't turn on the news without some Las Vegas related story being on there.
Yeah, I mean, they're still recovering, right? I mean, it's not over.
They claimed earlier in this week they were back to normal. I don't know what normal is. Like all the slot machines are back online. The online check-in systems are back online. I was hoping Brian could come on because he's in Vegas right now. I wanted him to give us the download on what's working, what's going on, how things are going there.
Well, that's probably why he's delayed.
Yeah, yeah. The airport's down.
The airport's still down.
Yeah.
So.
For our second topic, we have another ransomware story. Glenn, do you remember watching Looney Tunes when Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck would get into an argument over what hunting season it is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. There'd be a flyer posted on a telephone pole that says duck season, and then Daffy pulls it down to reveal a flyer saying rabbit season, and then Bugs Bunny would pull that one down, revealing a flyer saying duck season, and the skit would go on, and Elmer Fudd would be in like the background trying to figure out who he should shoot. Well, it seems to be happening in the ransomware world. Just this month, the US FBI issued a private sector warning based on data they've observed over the last few months. When they're not pressuring social media companies into taking down content they disagree with, the FBI observed that ransomware victims are often getting hit with 2 different strains of ransomware within days of each other. There are 2 theories of why this is happening. The first theory is that the initial access broker that breaks into the company's network then sells that initial access to more than one ransomware group. The 2 or more groups get into the network, deploy their own strains of ransomware, effectively creating a duck season, rabbit season situation. Now, that's smart, right, Glenn? Selling initial access to multiple groups. It's like there's no loyalty.
Yeah.
It's whoever pays me for this access gets it.
That's so smart. But think about it. I mean, that person makes out in the end from, like, let's say even if they had a sidebar discussion, it's like, hey, listen, I'm going to sell this to you, and I get 5-10% of whatever you make on top of that when you're inside already, like after you've been able to exfiltrate stuff. I don't know if those types of negotiations are happening, but it'd be very interesting to hear how they negotiate those things.
Sometimes it's a cut. Sometimes it's just a flat fee that says for $10,000, I'll give you access to a U.S. healthcare company with 30,000 employees. And that's usually how they advertise it on these underground forums.
No honor amongst thieves, though, right? Because you're selling it at 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times.
Yeah, that's going to be the next thing, I think. The next evolution in initial access broker is like, I'll sell it to you, but for 10,000 more, I'll sell it only to you. Sort of like those zero-day brokers that say, I'll sell the 0 day to anyone who pays, but if you give me double, then I'll only sell it to you.
Could you imagine? He's trying to sell it, and everybody, like first person with access gets it. They're in there for 5 minutes, and they're trying to patch everything else in between. So they're helping out the guy that's being raided by preventing others from getting in.
Yeah, that's not a bad theory too. That actually does happen with, I guess, more like those IoT botnets, that whoever lands on that vulnerable IoT device first, they close the back door that let them get in, and then they wipe out any other malware that's on it so that they can get exclusive use of it. But that's not a bad strategy, that once you get in, change the password of the account that got you in, and create your own backdoors there, just so this doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, that's funny, crazy. So, what do you think is going on? Like, you think this is going to be the next motion of attacks? Is basically this service that allows people to sell off access?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely happening now. It's just, I guess we haven't seen more than one group in there, but I guess these initial access brokers says, well, there's nothing in the contract that says I have to only sell it to you. Therefore, I'm just going to sell to as many people that will pay me. They're just trying to diversify their income streams there.
Well, we haven't really qualified like how much they're selling these things for, right? Is it $1? Is it 10,000 or is it 50,000?
Yeah, it varies. Some things like exposed RDP, that's relatively cheap. It depends on the size of the company, the vertical of the company as well. Like if you can get into like a U.S. federal contractor, that's probably worth a lot more than some mom and pop retail store.
You think the other foreign governments or attackers are like, hey, let's go ahead and pay this because this is easy in?
Oh, I'm sure it happens. Yeah, saves the NSA some work. They'll just say, yeah, here's some illicit Bitcoin that we have laying around. Let's buy some access into the Saudi government servers.
Yeah. Now, do you think this will ever stop? I'm just you go back on this. Is like, do we need more laws? Do we need better laws? Do we need tougher things that happen? Like for your actions, you do this, you got caught, so therefore you get the death penalty. I don't know. Like I said, it's just kind of weird, right? Or you just get a slap on the hand like you can, like the homeless people do. No one's really obeying laws these days, right? So what's the repercussion for doing something like this?
It's a very hard problem to solve just because so many of these ransomware groups and initial access brokers, they live in countries that won't prosecute. They won't extradite. So until we shore up our better defenses, we're not going to stop the attacker side. We have to stop it on the defense side, make it so hard. And that actually brings up a sort of a parallel, a corollary to it, is that things like the Windows kernel or the iOS kernel, we've hardened iOS so much that there's some company in Russia now, a 0-day broker, they're paying like 20 million, so 20 million US dollars if you can provide a chain of exploits to give them a 0-click remote code execution bug. That we've hardened it so much now that's what it's worth. They're so hard to find that it's worth $20 million now if you're able to find it.
Wow, 20 million. That's some serious change.
Yeah, but
that's
when you have
around
companies out there with security appliances that shall remain unnamed that come out with a 0-day basically every other month, well, it's not that hard to get into that now.
Yeah. It's software, right? At the end of the day, it's software running on hardware, so therefore it can and will be attacked. There's not 100% on anything. I think you and I can both agree on that, even on software, right? It's
detection and response. It's very hard to protect. You have to do it on the detection and response side.
Yeah. Hence, zero trust, my folks.
Yeah.
Zero trust is the key.
Absolutely. The second theory of why these ransomware crews are deploying multiple strains is that it's a single ransomware group that's in, but they're diversifying and mitigating their risk. For example, if our detections for Lockbit ransomware have become too good, they may deploy Medusa Locker at the same time, hoping that one goes through just in case Lockbit gets caught, detected, or stopped. Either that, or if one group has a flaw in their encryption, and we have seen ransomware groups that don't implement encryption correctly, so there's a master decryptor for it, well, they still can't decrypt the files because of the other ransomware strain. The problem arises from these duck season, rabbit season situations is the victim's data can get encrypted multiple times. The FBI reports a single victim had their files encrypted 5 times because when one ransomware strain sees files without their file extension, it encrypts it, even if it's already been encrypted by another ransomware strain. What a time to be alive.
Holy cow. Like, you pay the ransom, it gets unencrypted. You think it's
that
getting
takes care of one layer.
And someone else has crapped all over it.
What a surprise for that IT admin. It's like, oh, all right, cool. We paid the ransom. We got the key. Let's get back online. Oh, there's 4 more layers of encryption below this.
Yeah, and then it's this different group, and then you go back and you find out, oh wait, it was the first group that I had 2 groups later that encrypted it again after they saw it was a different file when in actuality it was the same file. How crazy is that? Duck season, rabbit season.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, maybe the ransomware will get smarter and check if the file's actually encrypted already. Then it'll stop. So,
what do you think those guys are like? Hey guys, like you just crapped up my shit. Like get out of here.
Yeah, they'll kick them out. Yeah, it's hard to attribute it too. You know which group is doing it, but you don't know which affiliate is doing it.
All those things are signed by somebody. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You don't think
everybody wants to get paid? So whatever gets everyone paid, and then they have them fight it out.
Yeah. Lovely.
For our third topic, it's been a bit since we've had a good generative AI story. ChatGPT has been behaving for the most part, which is a good sign. This time it's Microsoft's Bing chatbot powered by ChatGPT that's the problem. Bing Chat used to be fine, but wanting to make back some of that $10 billion investment they made into OpenAI, Microsoft had the brilliant idea to start including ads in the Bing chatbot responses. Just like when Google started adding ads to their search results, threat actors wasted no time buying up and publishing malicious advertisements. The scam works like this. If I ask the Bing chatbot, where can I download a copy of the popular software program Wireshark? It will then respond with, you can download Wireshark off their official website. The chat response includes a malicious ad at the top that's made to look like a link to the official Wireshark download site, but actually takes you to a cloned site with a Trojaned version of the program, or a web page with a pop-up that has one of those Microsoft Defender scam call centers on it. The official link to Wireshark is posted below the ad, but if you're not used to looking out for things like this, or you click too fast, you can easily click the wrong link. Now, I played around with Bing Chatbot for a bit, and I found that having uBlock Origin installed will block all ads, including malicious advertisements. So follow the FBI's guidance, ladies and gentlemen, and install an ad blocker.
That's a good one. That's a simple fix right there. Get an ad blocker to get rid of that. But the one that's interesting for me is the fact that why would you ask Chat AI for a download link to Wireshark?
It's because it's natural language. Then Microsoft's really pushing it. Even Bing, if you go to their Bing search page, a lot of the top results at the top are powered by the chatbot. So even if I just type in the words "download Wireshark" into Bing, it might still pop this up.
So I think probably corporate enterprises would be safe because they have a URL content filter, right? So something down the path can block that request or
hopefully,
whatnot.
Maybe.
You don't think so? It's part of that.
Only if that URL's been reported as malicious.
Mm.
And especially if that malicious file is delivered over TLS and they don't have SSL inspection turned on.
That's another one. How much do you think companies out there are doing TLS inspection now that, basically the internet's gone dark, right? Everything is SSL. What do you think?
Yeah,
what do you think
I would say
customers are out there?
It's definitely not enough.
Yeah.
I would say
you don't have a number to it?
Sub 50% of companies are doing it. And of the companies that are doing it, I would say that their rate of inspection, the percentage of traffic they actually are inspecting, I would say is not high enough either.
Yeah. Well, let's roll it back further. Why don't we think that this is being decrypted? Why are companies not doing that? Too difficult?
I've
Too hard to implement?
I've heard every reason. Yeah, too hard to implement. Legal won't let us. Compliance won't let us. We value customer or employee privacy over security. I mean, sure, drives the security people crazy when they hear something like that. It's true. Right here, I would say it's more the case here on the West Coast that a lot of companies respect their employees' privacy to their detriment, that they won't inspect certain traffic that has a high potential for having malware delivered through it. And in some countries, it's very difficult to do that, even though there are ways to do it and comply with it. I think that especially, I'm thinking like the EU and the privacy guidelines there. You can definitely inspect the traffic, but there are some guidelines that you have to follow when doing it.
Yeah, you know what's nice about, like I said, you know what I do, right? We have an enterprise browser. What's nice about that is we're pre and post SSL encryption, so we can see everything from a browser standpoint. It'd be interesting to see how you can get that paired up and get a policy where you are able to stop those types of attacks. Paired it with a network security tool, right? Looking down the path.
Right, and that's where things like EDR would come in. So EDR still definitely has a place on the endpoint, but EDR has its perils as well. It's sometimes to be heavy, it can be clunky. You use something like Process Terminator, and you can kill it with relative ease. And there's some interesting attacks out there on how they can defeat EDR, but it's definitely got its place in a defense in depth strategy. Yeah.
I'm with you. It's not a single solution, Chris. It's got to be multiple solutions that help build that fence, right? That ring, in order to protect our customers here. What's interesting though for this, I mean, if we go back to the whole thing, like shame on Microsoft. I know they got to make the 10 billion back, right? But really, ads inside of a conversational chat, I don't know. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I'm confounded by this.
And I would say I'm not morally opposed to having ads on Bing and chatbots. What I am concerned about is the level of vetting that they have for their advertisements. And same with Google. Google was serving up tons of malicious ads with AdWords and their search results. If they had a better vetting process and this wasn't like fully automated with AI machine learning, you put humans in there, it takes a human 5 seconds to click on this and know that it's a phishing link. An educated human, I would say. But with the amount of ad traffic that they have, they want to make as much money as possible. It's a very high margin business. And why not throw people at the problem?
Yeah. This reminds me, and this is probably going to be scary, is think about things like I think it was like maybe 10 years ago, boxers started selling their skin on the back of their fights to advertisers, right? You would see them with a tattoo or a sticker or something like that on their back. You saw it on their shorts. You see advertising everywhere, right? And then, you fast forward a little bit, you watch a movie, I think it was Minority Report, as your eyes got scanned, there would be specific target ads as you walk through a subway or a bus station or a public location. I think we're going to get to a point, and I'm not going to die, and this is going to kill me if I ever see this. I mean, you see it in your Kindle, right? You open the Kindle up, you read a book. Before you can order a book, you open the page, and what's the thing that's inside there? There's an ad, right? It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be pervasive. And I've got this feeling like you open your car door to your Mercedes, your BMW, pick your car, Toyota, whatnot, and then on the screen before you do anything, you get served with an ad before you can start your car, and you gotta watch it. And if you want to unlock that, then it's an additional $5,000 to drive your car, right? That's going to be
without ads.
Without ads, yeah. It's like, oh my god, this is going to be crazy.
Remove ads. That's that upsell.
Yeah. It's just going to be. It's an ugly thing. It's such an ugly thing. Like, where do we stop with ads? And I don't mind good ads. What I don't want are bad ads that are malicious in nature, right? But just like we talked about.
I remember I forgot if we talked about it on the show, but there was a smartphone maker out there. It might have been Huawei or one of those low-cost phone makers that basically said on the lock screen, it would show an ad. And to unlock your phone, you would have to watch like a 5-second ad before your phone would unlock.
Hulu, right? Come on. The Hulu service, some of these services, like, where are these ads coming from? I thought I actually paid for this to not have ads.
Yeah.
And you hear it. That's unbelievable. But, maybe we need to flip this around and go, listen, you can have all the ads you want, but at some point in time, the hosting service that presents those ads has to be clean. Some some level of service has to be behind there that says, listen, we're not going to serve dirty ads or dirty links.
Yeah, they have to vet it. And that's the key. You have to have a better vetting process. You can't just let anybody buy ads or hijack someone's account and then place these malicious ads out there.
So do you think that's the key then, is like folks like Google and Microsoft have to do better? It's like, hey, be better. Just don't take money for advertising space, but actually validate that you are a true company and what you're advertising for is something that's not malicious in intent.
I think Google is starting to get there. The parallel I was going to draw was Google can't even keep bad apps out of their Google Play Store. Like there's Google Play Verified, and there's like Google Play Verified apps of like malicious apps out there. I think one of the things that Google Play is going to do is for developer accounts. The one requirement is they're going to require you to have a DUNS number. So you have to be a registered company with DUNS and Bradstreet. They at least verify that you're a real corporation, you're a real entity. And that's yet another step in the right direction. So maybe to buy some ads on Microsoft or Google, you have to have a DUNS number. You have to be a registered corporation or a company before you can do that. I mean, raising that bar, I think, would help, like, keep out the riffraff.
Then you go back, right? What about the tiny mom and pop shop, the guy that's working out of his garage in order to do software development on his own? Is he going to have a DUNS number?
He can. I don't know what the process is or how much it's going to cost, but yeah, it's going to raise the bar for what they need. And actually, I take that back. I think for Google Play, I think the DUNS requirement is only for apps that have 100,000 installs or more. There's some threshold to not price out these mom and pop stores, or the developer that does this for fun on the weekends.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone liked about Google, right? Was that they were very open. You could build things real quick. You could take things down. You build it there, and if it works and it takes off as a hit, then you can go develop it for iOS, right, and have that backing. Because at the end of all that, people like that application playing on an iPhone, especially if they see their buddy on their Android playing with an app that's not available in Apple.
Apple's very close, and they still can't even keep malicious apps out of the Apple App Store. It's way lower than Google for sure, but there's no system that's perfect. Again, you have to have that human element in it, and I get it. Humans don't scale, but you also don't want to serve malicious ads either.
Yeah. Well, I don't think either one's going to start being better anytime soon, even though one of them may have a slogan that says "Do no evil." The question is, can do no evil at the point where it doesn't affect marketing money, right? Money.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Until do no evil unless it affects the bottom line.
Yeah.
For our last topic, and it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week, we're going to talk about any good books you've read or listened to lately. Since Brian doesn't read, this is a good topic to have between us two, Glenn.
Oh God, you're on the condition that I read.
Well, I know you're an Audible subscriber.
I'm very much an Audible subscriber. So go ahead, you first.
Yeah. So I finished Atomic Habits by James Clear. This one came really, really highly rated on Amazon. I think I probably had too high of expectations for it. It had some good strategies, and I can see it fitting. I don't think it was great for me for trying to develop good habits. Like, I can see where he's coming from. I can see how it would benefit some people. I just don't think it's my style of how to develop good habits. I have my own system that I use, and I'll probably take some of the strategies and use them, but I think I had a lot higher expectations for that.
Did you read or listen?
I listened to that one.
You listened to it?
Yeah.
Do you think that one would be different if you had just read it because you could understand the platform of what they were trying to deliver differently?
I don't think so. There's like worksheets and stuff that he provides on his website, but even then, it's I don't think the techniques and styles that he proposes, I don't think they're compatible with how I operate. But it feels really highly rated. So it might be for you. Yeah. I don't think it was for me.
Well, I'll tell you this. Like, as my wife would tell me, I'm half past dad, right? So I'm of a certain age that would be considered a large number, right? A number that I'm over the hill. And I just think, how do you read a book about changing your habits or atomic habits when you've had them for the last many, many, many years, right? So
Yeah,
you have to be
and
willing to change. I think that was the other side of that for me.
some of the stuff he talks about are things that I already practiced. Like one of the tenets of building good habits is make bad habits expensive. Like so, and these
Hmm.
things I already do. Like I brush my teeth after dinner. That severely cuts down on the amount of snacking I do after dinner. When you eat junk food, pour it into a bowl, never eat out of the bag. I'm like, well, yeah, I do that already. So for all these bad habits you're trying to break, make them harder, make them more expensive. One thing that was interesting, he said though, is like if you
Hmm.
play too much video games, after you're done playing video games, unplug the system, lock it in a closet. So every time you want to play, it's a huge hassle for you to set everything back. I'm like, all right, yeah, I can see that working. I don't think I have any addictions like that. Maybe I work too much. Maybe that's the habit I need to break. Lock up my work laptop after dinner.
Can you go put that inside the? Can you store that in the cupboard and have Grace throw it with a key for about
Yeah,
4 hours? You'd probably kill yourself if you didn't have that type of
I'll
access.
set up my Zscaler instance to block all corporate applications during a certain hour. I'll have a time
Yeah,
based rule.
nice. What else do you have? What else?
Fancy Bear Goes Fishing. This is a very good one. It's information security related. It's basic enough that the average person could understand it, but it also goes really in depth enough that I still enjoyed it. So I think this was good. It goes into what's a virus, what's a worm, what's the Morris worm, the I love you virus, the Melissa virus. It talks about the origins of things. Then it talks about things like the Paris Hilton hack, the DNC hack. It goes into some specific examples. It goes pretty deep into that. I enjoyed this one. This was a bit of a long book. It was a long listen, but I thought this one was well worth it. It's called Fancy Bear Goes Fishing. I'll link through to them in the show notes as well.
Yeah, that's a good one. Any others, or is that the
The last one I'm in the middle of right now is The Cuckoo's Egg by Cliff Stoll, and this has been on my to read list for a very, very long time. I've wanted to read it. I know the premise of the story, and it was really interesting to me. But actually, I'm about a third of the way through, and it's really good.
okay?
This is one of those edge of your seat type books, and I didn't expect it to be. I expected to be a guy telling a story about how he caught a hacker in his network, but it is written in a style that's edge of your seat. It's laugh out loud funny at some points, which I did not expect that from this book. I think I'm gonna enjoy this one through the end.
That's nonfiction.
That's a true story. It's about a guy that worked
It's
at
a true story.
Lawrence Berkeley Labs. He saw a
Okay.
75-cent discrepancy in the accounting software for computer compute time. He chased it and he found like this international hacker in his network.
Oh wow.
But
I
pulling
think
all
you
those
and I have.
threads, yeah,
Yeah. Well, you like that? That kind of
yeah,
got you into it, huh?
yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to go look at those two. Atomic was really hard for me. Fancy Bear Goes Fishing. I'm gonna put that on my list, and so is Cuckoo's Edge. That actually sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any others? Is that those are your top three?
Those are my top three. I don't want to drone on too long, but I've read a
Yeah.
bunch, but I wanted to talk about these three in particular.
So I'm the total opposite. I like fiction. I like
Like
listening,
James
reading.
Carr, right?
James Carr is one. Vince Flynn, he's passed. He's since passed away, and another
Yeah. Rest in peace,
author,
Vince.
Kyle Mills. Yeah, Kyle Mills has taken over. But I like that CIA kind of mystery thriller type. I get into that, right? It's for me. It's very. It takes me away from things I know. And then I'm a big. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love James Bond. Like James Bond. I'm a big James Bond fan. So
Ian
when is it
Fleming.
James Bond week? Yeah, James Bond week or James Bond month. I think it's October, November. It's a good time for me because I like to watch all the shows. Although they're getting a little long. It's like wow, I can't believe I really like that. I thought it was kind of weird, So, but that's where Get Smart came from, right? Is the spoof on that.
Yeah.
But
Austin Powers
so
too.
yeah. Vince Flynn, Kyle Mills on they call it the Mitch Rapp series. I think I'd like to say it's close to like 15 books so far. So I like to get them all, line them all up, and I listen to them serially. and I do it over and over because I just like the stories that are inside there. And then of course Jack Carr, Terminal List, a couple of others, but the other one that I was trying to make my way through is what was that? That was Extreme Ownership by Jocko
Oh,
Willink and
Jocko Willink.
Leif
Yeah,
Babin.
I read that one. That was
Yeah,
very, very
yeah,
good. I love all of Jocko's
yeah.
books. I have a number of them.
I think it was because it was military based is why I like the book. So, but yeah, some really good ones.
Yeah, yeah. And he and Leaf, they tell it in a really good way. They tell a military story. I think it's the
Hmm.
former, right? They tell a military story. They talk about like the lessons learned, and then they talk about how it applies to business.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
like that one a lot for sure. Vince Flynn
yeah,
was
but
a big fan of the company I used to work for. I used to work for Iron Key, so Vince Flynn was a fan of Iron Key,
okay,
and he would do product placement of Iron Key in his books. And we didn't pay him or anything. He was just a big fan of it. So he would say like the spy
really.
plugged in an Iron Key flash drive into his computer. Yeah, we used to
See,
have
I'm gonna have to go do a
copies.
search for that now.
We used to have
Nice.
copies of his book in the Iron Key lobby with a bookmark to the page where he talks about Iron Key in there.
Yeah, I guarantee you he had stock in Iron Key.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah, that's too funny.
Yeah, those are good ones. So are you in the middle of Extreme Ownership right now, or is it on your to-read list?
It's on my. I started it. I have this thing. I go through one chapter. If I'm intrigued, I continue on. If I'm not, I put it down and I save it for later. But I know some things I save for later. Some things I save never. Like it's like you're coming off the list. Like I don't want to read you again. That one I know I just need to get to once I'm done getting through, some of the other things that I want to read first.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That one's a good one, and that one you can pick it up and put it down because each chapter I think is relatively independent of each other. At least the sections are.
Hmm.
So that one is one that you can pick up and put down if you need to make a change.
Yeah. But you're not a big nonfiction guy. You don't.
No, I'm a big nonfiction guy. I think I exclusively read nonfiction.
No, I mean, what about fiction? You don't like fiction?
I do. I used to read a lot of Tom Clancy before he passed. I think in Tom Clancy's later years, I think he stopped writing so much himself. He would write like
Hmm.
the premise and the skeleton of the story, and he'd have other people finish it for him, write everything in the middle. But the
Yeah.
Jack Ryan stuff, I forgot something Clark, like the Rainbow Six ones, the Jack
Hmm.
Ryan stuff for sure. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, the nomenclature that he has. I mean, some of the things, the details that he has of the ships and the weapons and things are like, where did he pull this out of? Because this is some great detail about a weapon or a weapon system. Like, oh my gosh, this is really good. And then you're
He's
like,
got
I wonder how
military
real this is.
advisors. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
he's got military advisors.
Yeah, I don't think
So,
he's ever been criticized for falsifying things or
yeah.
yeah, like I remember Dan Brown, he would always have that disclaimer at the beginning of his book, all technologies in this book actually exist. Like, do they really? Do we have little bugs that are the size of a fly that can recharge by sitting
Nanites.
near an
Yeah,
electromagnetic field? Like, do those really exist?
yeah. It's to your mind.
Yeah, given enough time, if I had time to read everything, I'd read some fiction. But I've been focusing on nonfiction and things that I guess are self improvement. I guess it either improves my knowledge of cybersecurity or improves my knowledge of leadership.
Yeah. I look at it the other way. I spend about 20 hours of my day thinking about work and everything surrounded around cyber.
Yeah,
I need some time outside of that just to
that's true.
decompress my mind
Yeah,
and just get out of that. So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing they talk about in Atomic Habits. If you do things for fun for where you work, you need different habit spaces. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I shouldn't be working in places that I should be having fun. Even though like my computer setup, I use it for online gaming and I use it for work. So I don't know how I'll do that.
Hmm.
We continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week. Dad joke of the week. This week, I'm up, hoping to save us from the two stinkers in a row. So stick with us, audience.
Wow, wow, wow. That's the joke already, folks.
How do you determine how heavy a red hot chili pepper is?
How do you determine?
You give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Wah, wah, wah. I gotta say, that was better than the last 2 weeks. But you also have to be a red chili pepper fan. So,
Exactly. You have to know that's. I think everybody can figure out that's. It's like, give it away, give it away, give it away.
could you imagine? That's been 30 years now since they
Probably, yeah.
been big. Yeah.
In the 90s, for sure.
Yeah. I remember going to Lollapalooza out there to listen to them. That's crazy. That was
Nice.
a long time ago.
Dating yourself, Glenn.
I am very much dating myself. I'll stop right now. I'll let you close this out.
All right, to wrap things up, I was right and Brian was wrong about MGM's dwell time. Ransomware attacks are using multiple strains of malware now. Bing's chatbot is now serving up malware. And go and read a book. That's all I have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all our listeners and subscribers who rate us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. For my co-host Glenn Medina, I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
And I'm going to end it this way. You should have seen the look Chris gave me when I said Lollapalooza. He had to sit there and kind of stare at me and go, what is that? Is that like Woodstock?
I know what Lollapalooza is, Glenn. I'm not that old, that young.
All right. Bye, Felicia. Have a nice day.